What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking The Penguin, Episode 4, St. Anne. But before we get into all of that, Dave, Doug, how's it going, gentlemen?
Well, Keith, I gotta tell you, I am fan-freaking-tastic. Played a show on Saturday night. My sister showed up to that show with my brother-in-law and four of their friends. It was really nice to have some family out to see me, so that was nice. We played a good show. Afterwards, I went home, dropped off my drums, and then went out to Brighton because I wasn't going to drive out to Brighton early in the morning on Sunday to catch the Bears game with the folks. Sorry, Doug, we're talking sports here, but yeah, my Bears in London, they won the game. They're on a roll right now. They're playing some pretty bad teams, but that's what you're supposed to do to bad teams is beat them like that. So that's the first step. Kind of feel bad for Hutchinson there, Doug, who wrapped his leg around his teammate's other leg. Oh, that was kind of disgusting to watch. I have a friend who used to do motocross, and he went up on one of those jumps and he came down and did the same thing with his leg, and he walks very slowly these days. So, kind of disgusting. You don't want to watch it if you haven't seen it. Don't make an effort to see it. It's kind of disgusting. Other than that, today got up and I couldn't wait to talk about this tonight. I watched this last night as soon as I could. And, a prediction that we made last week came true. It's a very, small prediction, but it was right. So we'll get to that in a moment, talking about this excellent show. Doug, are you outstanding playing your video game?
Huh? Oh, is it my turn? Oh.
I stopped talking about sports about at least 30 seconds ago.
Are you playing Madden?
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Obviously. I'm playing the Sega Genesis one.
Nice. That's a good one.
To answer your question, Dave, yes, I am actually outstanding, except for like one minor thing. I was attempting to hook up a new router. I decided I was going to get my own. I'm tired of paying, the ISP provider that will not be named, all this money to rent a device. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to get my own. I've been looking into it. Got it. Went to go, hook it up, plug it in, and everything. I went through all of the setup. I unlocked the old IT knowledge that I had tunneled away into my brain. Got everything going, and then I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and test it. Go to bring up a web page, crawling, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on with this? I'm like, all right, that's weird. Bring up YouTube, and it's just spinning and spinning, and I'm like, oh, this is like dial-up days. This isn't cool.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? And so, like, I'm doing some troubleshooting. I'm trying to figure out what's happening, and I end up like, stumbling on some Reddit post, and they're like, oh yeah, Spectrum will specifically do that unless you call them and make them give your new hardware the okay. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, they're that petty.
Is that exactly what we're from?
Tomorrow I'm gonna have to go through this whole process again, I guess, and call the overlords and beg their permission to use my own device.
So you got your other one hooked up right now?
No, no, no. Oh my God, no! I wouldn't have been able to stream. Yeah, it's got my
Oh.
old one.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You got
Yeah,
your
yeah,
old
yeah,
one.
yeah. I've got my original one hooked up. It's not working the way that it used to, and it's got like a weird rattle now. I think it must have dropped at some point. So I mean, it's fine for the internet and for watching TV, but that's about it. So I needed to get a new one. It's just now I've got to beg the ISP to allow me to use it.
Well, you're good at begging. I don't know what else to say there. Had to crack
Well,
something
with
out.
that, Keith, sir, how are you?
Gentlemen, I am tremendous. Do you want to know why I'm tremendous?
Why?
Because we got
Why?
the what's up from Sierra. She's out there, probably with Paul, watching our stream. We appreciate it. And I'm also tremendous for so many other reasons. Always a good time talking the Penguin with you fine gentlemen. Another fantastic freaking episode last night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like speechless at the end of these. Like, I wanted 10 more minutes. I want next week's episode. I want everything. So good. I mean, I just am blown away by how incredible this show is. So, should we talk this week's episode of The Penguin?
What if we said no?
Oh, we talk about something else.
No, we should definitely talk about The Penguin. And what is it titled again?
Zegen.
Oh.
And we're going to do something different. I'm going to stop you both right here. We're going to do something different today. This is going to blow your minds. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're going to talk about the beginning of the show.
Whoa. Hold up.
Well, hold on.
I'm sorry I didn't talk about this before the stream. That was going to change everything up. But
Slow down. I don't know what you're doing here. I'm all turned around.
I think we found out why Oz left Sophia behind. The look she gave him when she figured out he was the one that killed her brother. I was like, good God. And that was just an intro to how dark this episode was and just how great the actress was that plays Sophia. I mean, this was, and I said this without any irony last night, this was one of the best hours of television I think I've ever seen. It was so well crafted, well written, well acted. The score was good. Everything about this episode hit. The writers, the actors,
dialogue.
the director, everything, everyone deserves all of the awards when the award season comes around, because for a comic book show, it doesn't feel like a comic book show. And that's usually a bad thing. When you have a comic book show, it doesn't feel that way. But this feels like Goodfellas, The Godfather, Sopranos, and stuff like that. It is so well crafted. I can't get over it.
I don't know,
Mark's
Keith.
phone.
I think it's actually, in my opinion, I think it's kind of the opposite. Marvel was at their best when they made movies with the genre first, featuring said comic book character.
Yeah. That was the whole, like, the first 3 phases they did that.
Oh yeah,
Really.
yeah.
And then they started writing, all right, here's our superhero, and then here's the story. And that's kind of where they've stumbled a little bit, I would say. And
I think
Cristin Milioti is just amazing as Sophia. I keep saying it. This could be her breakout role. She hasn't played anything too major yet, but she's just knocking this out of the park. I hate to use that phrase, you know why, but it's true. She's amazing in this role. And like you said, when and Oz was the background character, and I was thinking when she gave him that look, and then he blew it. He had just won her over, 2 seconds before. And I was thinking, oh man, they ain't gonna have time to build on that. But you know what? I thought, well, this is episode 4. We only got 4 more, and they're not doing another season. So they got to get to the point of this story. So that was, it was still kind of cool that they're not going to build on that, but at least he knows he got to the point where he could, he could get her trust back.
Yeah, that awesome speech he had at the end of last week's episode that finally kind of won her over, where she was believing in him. And man, it went just like that. So great.
And you're right with the acting. Just the look on her face alone, that she looked legitimately hurt. And she even explains it when she's talking to her therapist later on. She's like, I trusted him. I trusted him when everything in my body told me not to, and I still gave him my trust.
That was a good line.
Yeah.
Everything in my body was telling me not to, and I did anyway.
Yep. God, yeah. You both are correct. Such a good actress.
With her in the scene with Carmine, and the way she let him know that she suspected him without ever saying it, and then him picking up what she was saying, without ever hearing it. And the way that they put things in motion without actually saying to do things, genius writing, I thought. Just the way that the dialogue was, the way they handled each situation, it's very good writing.
Oh yeah.
And seeing her,
it gives off. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, seeing her kind of figuring this out when she was seeing the pictures that the reporter was laying down, and then finally she's like, "Why are you showing me this?" I was like, "Damn, she put it together." Does the reporter know it's her dad, or does she just suspect somebody at the club or someone in the family? But then it was answered immediately when he was like, "Why you know not to talk to reporters? I thought better of you. You know what's going on?" And then when she's like, "I was just thinking about mom. Day she died." I was like, "Oh my God, they're not pulling back on the gas at all for this episode." It just
When Sophia says, my father's a good man, my father's a good man, was that her being naive, or do you think she and everybody else know all the crimes that the family was doing and they just kind of, well, that's a separate part. He's still a good man above, with all of that.
No, I think it was being a child of a mafia kingpin. It's instinctive to say, "Oh, he's a good man, he's a good man," because you have to kind of live behind that to know what your dad does for a living and deal with it on a kind of an emotional level. So I think that was just sort of instinctive to say that, like, no, my dad's a good man, he's a good man, he wouldn't do all that stuff. When even her brother was like, "We know what dad does, we can't talk about it," in that later scene. And I think that was just that, being the child of a mob kingpin and just being, no, I can't do that, he's a good dude. He tucked me in at night after my mother died. Wait a minute. There was defensive wounds. Wait.
Did either of you ever see the Tom Hanks movie Road to Perdition?
I never did, but I want to.
Excellent movie, and this episode gave me so many vibes from that. Like, it reminded me so much of it. It's a mafia movie. Tom Hanks plays essentially a hitman for this mafia, and he's very well respected in the family to the point where the son of the mob boss is jealous of him. Like, how dare you make my dad like you more than me? And the son is a lot like the Falcone son, where he's like, he's constantly screwing up. He's getting drunk. He's making a mess of things. And he decides that he's going to take things in his own hands. And the father runs and defends him and puts out a hit on his guy that he formerly trusted. And it reminded me so much of that scene with Sophia when he was like, your brother, he's a mess up. There's no way that he can, do this, but I want you to run the family. And she's like, they're never going to accept that. No, they'll listen to me. And that, it was giving me so many vibes off of that. And I'm like, holy crap, I wonder if that was any kind of inspiration or something like that, because oh my gosh, it was such a well-written scene, but then the flip just like that, on a dime, just because it was going to better his position and better the overall family. Wow. How do you turn on somebody that you literally just said, "I want you to run things"?
You know what? It takes a certain type of person to do that and be that way. And Mark Strong, who's playing, her dad in this, did a great job too. I mean, John Turturro played him in the Batman.
Threw me off.
And it did, because it was not John Turturro.
Yeah. I noticed that really right away, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of an odd choice. But once I had asked you guys about it, I'm like, well, why did they go with a different actor?
And to see what lengths he would go to frame his daughter and what he put her through and what he turned her into. I mean, holy cow. I guess, and I was very disappointed too. I guess we're not going to see Magpie as the villain in any Batman
I guess
films.
we aren't, are we?
No, she took care of that.
And even the one lady who was unchained, who like kind of beat her down when her first day in there, and she was, why was she unchained? Why? I know what you're doing. You're trying to make me sound paranoid, but I know she was unchained or whatever. And then taking her back in there and that she was all chained up. And she's like, I know what you want me to do, and I'm not going to do it. It's like she still had her, her wits about her, and she knew what was going on. And then that lady just stabbing herself with the fork. I was like, oh my God. I did not expect that. And wow, just like,
And I thought about that when that happened. I was like, this would happen in the comics. This would happen.
Oh,
And
yeah.
especially something this dark. This would be like, you ever seen the Punisher series that, like Garth Ennis wrote? It's like definitely,
it was the Max.
MA14. Huh?
It was the
Max,
Punisher
yeah.
Max, yeah.
So it'd be like this would be like the Penguin Max. This would be violent in there. And, it would happen in the comics. It's kind of dark. This is a very dark story we're watching here.
And it's not going to get any lighter because, I mean, the way she treated Magpie, the way she, ended up, and it was. By the way, I looked. Do you guys know what Cent Annie means?
No.
It means 100 years.
22?
Nope, 100 years.
Oh.
Huh.
And it's basically a way of wishing someone a long life. It's a traditional Italian expression of goodwill commonly used for toasts. So when Sophia uses the phrase, she's kind of bearing the hatchet with everyone who did her wrong, because they all wrote damning, things against her. And then, to all of them who blamed her for being the hangman. And I really thought if they
I
were
feel
going
like she took burying the hatchet a bit too literally.
Oh, yeah.
Just because she didn't use a hatchet. I mean,
Well, and I don't know about you guys, when she took the little girl out I thought she was going to kill her for a few minutes. I was like, oh, please don't do this. Don't do this. She's like,
yeah, I thought about that at first, but then I was like, the little girl was the only one who was genuinely nice to her. So she's not going to do anything to her. She protected her. That was the best. And like, I didn't understand, and I still don't. Maybe I need to go back and watch it. How did Johnny Vitti escape the gas?
that is a good question. She did close the window when she went back in there. So I don't know if his window was open, but it seemed like she has a use for him or needs him to do something after, obviously she toasted everyone a long life and then ended up murdering the entire family. But she has some use for him. He needs to do something, or he's that lifeline to keeping the bliss, going with the triads. So, we'll definitely find out next week, but I mean, it's going to get nuts because you got to think. Well, she probably feels pretty good about herself, what she did to all of these, people who kept her down, as she saw it, and incarcerated her in Arkham for all those years. I mean, she has weakened the Falcone family immensely. And the Maronis in Oz are probably going to do whatever they can to take out that family completely here. I mean, she probably understands that. And that's maybe why she needs Vitti. Something he can do or something he knows is going to help her maintain control of their territory a bit, because otherwise she would get wiped out instantly.
Oh yeah.
And they're gonna know.
I have an Arnold on here. I have to do Arnold.
Well, let me do the 5-minute timer is going, sir.
All right. Next time I talk, I'll be talking like this.
But I mean, the way she took them all out. I mean, she gets up. She goes, "Oh, just stay asleep," and I'm like, "Okay, what is she doing?" Pumping the gas in, and I'm like, oh boy, that's a bad way to die.
I'm assuming
you're going down tonight.
I'm assuming this was all planned before she went on the drug deal mission with Oz, because you don't just randomly in the middle of the night go through a mansion, seal every window, close every door. Turn... I feel like this had to have been, maybe a little bit thought out. Perhaps when what's his name told her, here's the ticket. If you don't get on the plane, then I'm going to tell everybody you did.
Yeah, I think that was, and I think with what happened outside the club, that's was like, okay,
The final nail in the coffin.
It's been a plan of mine, but I'm executing it now, because like she said, I forgot the doctor's name that quit. Her buddy who ended
Julian, Dr. Julian.
Yeah,
I
Doctor.
think.
Thank you. Yeah, when she was like, I can't trust anybody. So she doesn't want capos and lieutenants. She wants to run this all herself. Right. She wants no one to be close to her. She doesn't think she needs anybody close to her.
She was promised it. She was promised it anyway. So she's basically taking what's hers.
I didn't like her doctor. I didn't like the way that he's only there for her because he likes her, and she knows it. She was playing it up with him as she walked out. She knew she could call him when she got out, and she needed a place to stay. And he took care of her.
The way she said, I'm wearing your clothes, and I was like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's in for. Run, dude, because it's not going to end well for you.
No. What is that? Isn't it like the saying goes, the crazier they are?
Oh yeah, the crazier they are. You know what they say. They got long toes, right? That's what they say. They got long toes.
But yeah, he's in for a world of paying him to deal with. Essentially a new crime lord. Yay for crime.
Right, a new crime lord right in the middle of
a war.
Yeah, a mob war, which is definitely going to heat up after this. They've set it up so perfectly, and I can't imagine. Dave mentioned earlier we only have 4 episodes left.
But here's the thing that's really going to put a wrench in her gears. So she's trying to essentially take over the Falcone family, and she thinks she's got everything in place. I wonder what she's planning on doing about Oz, because we know that he's going to try and start his own thing. His entire plan was to do this whole drug deal and then take it over and oust the Falcones and the Maronis. He was going to do his own thing. That was his plan from the beginning. So obviously what's that?
He's still going to. It's still that.
Yeah, he's going to try. He's going to try. That's for sure. I don't know, how far along he's going to get, but yeah, he's certainly going to try. Well, and that's going to definitely get in the way of Sophia. If
you saw any of the previews from next week, he's telling Vic, she pretty much did our job for us.
Well, yeah, getting rid of that part of the family, but now they've got to deal with the rest of the Maronis. They've got to deal with the triads. Yep. So
but think about this. Him kind of brushing her off in that statement like that is going to hurt him more than he thinks. He thinks, oh, she took care of it for us. She is a much bigger danger to him than anybody else, and they've shown it this whole series. When she was telling him at the restaurant, I think it was in the first episode, my father always underestimated you, but I don't. Letting him know that she knows what he's capable of and what he's probably planning.
Every step of the way, she was just talking about how you're just the driver, and that's all you do. You're nothing more, you're nothing less than a driver.
She wasn't like that at first. I think that was because she was in an emotional state of, like, she was having to come to terms with what her father did. And so she lashed out at Oz, because before that, earlier in the episode, she, was actually very kind to him and treating him like an equal almost.
I was going to say, they seem like friends.
Penguin.
Yeah.
And timer is done, sir. But Sierra does want 1 more minute because it was late. So
I'll do it. 1 more minute, I can do it. I'll do it now.
But you're right. It did seem to me too. Like, she was friendly with them and nice, and they seemed to have a nice relationship. And then when this was all, even after, like when she got arrested, she was like, Oz, you need to help me out here. It kind of came back to that. So a lot of the ways when she treated him bad, it was a defensive mechanism because she was hurt.
Mhm.
And, much like everyone underestimated Oz his entire career, it seems like he's making that same mistake with Sophia going into the next episode. And it is going to be bloody and ugly, and I can't wait to see it. I kind of feel sorry for the Maronis because they're probably thinking they're feeling pretty good right now, and it's not going to go well. Unfortunately,
Her character, it's just so much deeper on this show than I ever saw it in the comics.
This is one thing that maybe you guys would know better than me. I don't remember in any of the Batman comics them getting this deep into the crime families. Like in some of the earlier Batman stories, they mention them in the not Long Halloween, in Hush. In Hush, they talk about the story with Bruce's dad.
with Bruce's dad, Thomas.
When he saves Falcone?
Yes, yeah, they talk about that story. But to my recollection, they don't really get much deeper than that. Maybe there's a couple of one-off stories that I just have missed, but I don't think they've ever talked about how the crime families finally went away. We're almost led to believe that it was Batman that cleaned them up, not Sophia, who gassed her whole family to death.
No, it is never. They've always just been common mobsters, like fodder for Batman and stuff, or minions for the Penguin or anybody else who would have them. So this is definitely going much deeper into, the different families and all that has transpired, and especially what, is bringing Oz into power in Gotham.
Well, I really appreciate that. To me, this is like added world building that I don't think any of the comic book writers ever thought to give us, and I enjoy it. I'm really enjoying this. I think it's great. Good stuff.
I wonder if some have wanted to, and like DC Comics was like, no one wants to read about
it's
mob
gotta be
stories
about
and
Batman
Batman.
superheroes.
Exactly. And we do have
I want to know the motivations of all the characters. I want to know why they act the way they do. And when you provide background and world building like this, it just makes the story so much better, rather than glossing over the top, just like a scene or two, and that's it. It just adds so much to the world. Now, if this was going to be part of the DCU, that would make this world even like so much bigger.
That would be cool.
And Brad is out in the chat on YouTube. Brad, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Are you enjoying the Penguin? Let us know. And that's, it's funny because I imagine the DCU is going to be much lighter.
Probably.
Like, it's going to, Batman is going to deal with his more, I don't want to say lighter villains, but his more deranged villains. Where for the Batman, the Matt Reeves sort of,
it's very grounded.
Universe, it is so grounded, and the Penguin isn't some supervillain. He is just a, deformed.
He's not waddling because he's half penguin, half man. He doesn't have the long hook nose. He doesn't quack like that when he's talking.
Yeah, he's basically not Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Well, he's not Danny DeVito, and he's not really like the Penguin was in any of the animated series either, where they were kind of templating. At first, they used the Danny DeVito version as the template, and then eventually kind of evolved him into a slightly less feet, but still, he's always been, slapstick isn't the right word. Campy is the word I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and this is as far from
and I agree with you, Keith, that I think for the DCU they are going to go with more of those type of villains, or at least more of the campier versions of them. Like, we'll probably get our Joker, but he's probably going to be more like, I don't want to say exactly, but maybe closer in line with the 60s Batman show.
See, I don't think it'll be that campy. I think it'll be more Mark Hamill's from the animated series.
I could see that too.
It's not going to be super dark, but it's still going to have touches of it. But it's going to, the entire DCU, it'll have some darker shows, but more it's going to be like the golden age of DC Comics, where it's more, positivity and, the bright colors and all that.
Not letting your dad die in a tornado.
You know, that bus full of students, you probably shouldn't have saved them because somebody might have seen you. Yeah.
Man, thank God that is over. We'll finally, get a good Superman movie. But the thing is, there are no Supermen in this world of Gotham.
No, no, there does not appear to be. No.
Yeah.
And it's
They
nice.
don't know. They don't even talk about Batman. So
No.
I mean, I think that's pretty cool. There's a standalone. They're not
I'm
even
glad for that. I am glad for that. That it's like, you can tell that it's in Gotham City, that they reference certain things that happen in the movie, but Penguin has not once brought up the fact that the Batman beat him up and made his car flip or anything like that. None of the crime families are talking about him when they're setting up their new, drug warehouse. Nobody's looking around like, hey, should we set up guards in case a Batman shows up? They're pretty much leaving it like, we know that he's somewhere out there doing his thing, but like, they're not making it front and center for this. They're letting it remain a good rounded mob story, and I'm good for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't need to.
You make it. Well, you make a Batman villain story, and you don't need Batman, and it's this good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm it sounds so weird to say that, because how often have we, made fun of Sony? Oh my God, did you really make a Spider-Man villain story and not have Spider-Man? How dumb are you? And it's usually
Yeah.
because they don't work. This works. This is the opposite. They are basically it's almost like they're showing Sony it can be done. You all just suck.
Yeah.
And
Pretty
think
much.
about it, when we see the Penguin in Batman Part 2, and he's like, you're not going to take what I've built. We'll know what it took to build it. It won't just be like a throwaway line to show that he has things. We'll have seen how he's gotten there. And I do hope that we do see this kind of world building in James Gunn's DCU, where it all, it's not just characters thrown in and, okay, they're this character. If they could build like this, because obviously they have the tools. It's going to be, movies and animation and television and video games. So they're going to have a lot of outlets to tell big stories. And I hope they take full advantage of it, because obviously Matt Reeves knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you hoping in the James Gunn DCU, are you hoping for more like origin story type movies?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think we'll get it either. I think we're all just gonna catch them as they're already in action. We already understand. If they need anything, they'll do a flashback.
Because think about it. In a Superman movie, we're getting Superman, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl. Was there one more? Oh, and the guy who's all the different things. He's like all the different gases and elements. Metamorpho.
Oh.
So
okay.
we are getting all of those characters in the first movie in the DCU. Now, obviously, we'll have Creature Commandos before that comes out. But, I mean, he's pretty much making movies for people who have read comics. And
already know these characters.
Yeah, he'll do a good job of introducing them, so people who aren't familiar with them will have a good understanding of who they are. But, yeah, they're hitting the ground running. And I think he wants to make this more of the fantastical. Like Batman's going to not fight grounded mobsters. He's going to be fighting, villains like maybe Man-Bat, Mr. Freeze, things of that nature. The villains that are more comic booky in nature and less real life.
You may have think you stopped me, Batman, but you forgot to take away my umbrella gun.
Or, we gotta see Mixapitlick. Or how do you speak?
Mitzelplick. Now, I hope they get Colin Farrell to play the Penguin in the DCU, but do it more campy like Doug was just doing.
God. And none of the excessive makeup either.
Yeah, he's just Colin Farrell, and he's got like something to pull his hair back.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he's got a big
And then
top
give him a
hat.
prosthetic nose. So that's it.
He's got a big top hat, of
Big
course.
top hat. Yes, it's got to have the big top hat. He's got to have like a wider stomach and then skinnier top.
He's always
Look just
wearing
like
a
a comic book
tuxedo.
penguin.
He's always wearing a tuxedo.
Hmm.
Has penguin
Of
bombs
course.
and umbrellas that shoot.
That's right. I forgot about those. His iceberg lounge literally needs to have an ice skating rink in it.
Yep. Oh yeah. And like figure skaters doing routines all throughout the time. Yes. James, buddy, if you need our help writing Batman Brave and the Bold, we're right here. We're pretty much writing it for you right now.
We got
You're
you.
welcome. Send the residual checks to not your status quo. Care. Man, we got off on a little tangent there. But that
We
is
did.
okay. Because
That is indeed okay.
So what's up with this yellow dress you were talking about earlier?
Well, essentially, what they were saying in the they're talking about in the after the episode, they're going over like why they made all the decisions that they did, and apparently one of the most important decisions was this yellow dress that they put her in towards the end when she, announced to everybody, you're right, I'm gonna give myself a fresh start. And then she gives them all, cheers, and then goes about her way, and then murders everybody in the middle of the night. Apparently, the idea behind it was, it was supposed to be a fresh beginning. It was supposed to represent like a flower blooming spring, yellow, that kind of thing. So it was her fresh start.
and yeah, it wasn't the fresh start they thought she was talking about. They're like, well, she's going to Italy for that fresh start. Did she actually say she was
Right.
going to Italy? I don't think she did. She implied it though. So we'll see her on the plane tomorrow morning. What if we don't see tomorrow morning? We'll see tomorrow morning. Don't worry about it. There'll be cake left, and we'll have some cake in the morning. We'll see her off to Italy. Don't you worry about it.
Oh, wow, there's a whole Variety article about it too. Jeez.
About the dress?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. Boy, I guess they must have been really proud about this.
Well, and I liked like her makeup made her seem more powerful, like more in
Yeah.
control. Like in that scene, like with the eyeshadow and stuff, I was almost like, at first before she said what she said, I thought she was about to say, "My father promised me this family, and I'm taking it now." And then when she, did her thing, I was like, "Oh, wow, she given up? I can't believe she'd give up." She didn't give up. But I really thought she was going to be more forceful and direct with the family. But she must have known, as one person, taking out the entire hierarchy of the Falcone family isn't going to take, she doesn't have enough muscle to really do it. She needed to do the subterfuge. And man, they all fell for it. And now I don't want
They
to
were
say they're
going to allow
weakened.
her that. Yeah, they were going to allow her that parting shot. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
she's got to do this. She'll be gone tomorrow. We won't have to deal with her anymore.
So the
Yep.
director said about it,
So true.
we wanted to capture how Sophia's appearance transmutes from quiet luxury pre-Arkham into deliberately garish veneer after she's released. The women in that family, the only way they express themselves is through clothes and hair and makeup. Melati says, if you take that way of learning and then put it through Arkham, how does that come out? I really wanted her hair to be feral, but it could be hidden when she was around her family. I wanted it to go on this journey of her becoming more and more wild. And yes, you're right. When you were pointing out like the makeup, the way the eyeshadow was, and yeah, she did kind of look like she was more powerful, more in charge, and like she was. I didn't know what she had planned. I will tell you that
No,
I did
yeah.
not see that coming. That was a hell of a twist on their part, at least to me. To me, they were not telegraphing that at all.
Well, I even told you,
No,
I
it's
thought
great.
she was going to kill the kid at first. And I'm like, oh, don't go there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because she's almost been, this is going to be a weird word, but I can't think of a better one. She's almost been the hero of this story in a certain way.
That's not too far off. Like that, she's going to be as close to the hero in a show about villains that you're gonna and mobsters that you're gonna get, I guess.
Yeah. And she really only is taking what was promised to her. Now, the way she took it, I'm sure a lot of, probably even Oz, when he finds out, he's like, oh, that's no way to do it. That's not how you take control of a family. But that was probably her only option. So, when you're pushed in a corner by everybody, you're going to do things a certain way that's going to benefit you. And they learned their lesson. Unfortunately, they won't have the chance to make that mistake again.
No.
Well, Johnny will. Johnny Vitti.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is one more thing that we didn't mention in her stay in Arkham. So that entire thing was also equally horrific. I mean, Lord, the way they treat these people. If Batman knew, maybe he'd be less likely to want to put so many of his rogues gallery in Arkham because, oh my God, I was, and I promise, no pun intended, I was shocked by the shock therapy.
You know what was the best part of that too?
What?
What, the Smallville? They he hit the button. All right. What season was it? Season 4 on Smallville. Lex had actually witnessed. He had evidence that his father killed his parents, and so his father put him in an insane asylum and did the shock treatment. So that was 20 years ago.
The way every time she got back from the shock treatment, how it was like a different angle they were using in the cameras,
yes,
and pulling the walls away to reveal. I was like, is that real or is that what she's seeing? And they never said.
Yeah, they never concluded that. I thought maybe she was in Carmine's house. The way that she, in her head, she's peeling that away. I was like, like V for Vendetta vibe.
Yeah.
Like she thinks she's in Arkham, but she's actually at Carmine's house. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking might end up as.
See, I almost thought of it the opposite. I thought she was peeling away the prison walls, and she was, even though she was in Arkham, she was pretending she was home.
She was, in her mind, she was trying to turn it into home. Yeah, it is like a coping mechanism. Yeah. That's the way I took it too. Because, I mean, what a way to literally make somebody crazy. To take somebody who was, for the most part, for the daughter of a crime lord, for the most part sane, and put them through that would make anybody crazy. You're going to gaslight them into thinking, what are you talking about? They let somebody off their chains. They wouldn't do that. And even if it happened, why would anybody do it on purpose? And then, oh, you know what? That woman stabbed herself to death with a fork. We're going to shock you as punishment and lead you to believe that you were responsible for it. Talk about dark.
And I actually found it funny when
innocent. She was innocent before that all happened. Even the way she acted,
Yeah. That is very true. She was
as
very
innocent as the daughter of a crime lord is going to be.
She wasn't fully aware of everything going on.
And the fact it took the other doctor that long to figure out she was innocent and what they were doing was wrong. I'm like, you're not very good at this, are you? Because,
no.
I thought for sure, he was on the payroll just like the head doctor because he was very good about, he wasn't really listening to what she was saying. He was just, paranoid.
Yep.
She has trouble, interpreting reality. But, looking back, I started thinking, what was all of the letters that were written? They're reading through her files saying she's been doing this, and she's, ever since her mother died, she's having these issues. So it was almost like he went in reading that, believing it, so he saw it in her anyway. And so I could see where it would take him a little while to figure out, hey, was it Ventress? I thought it was kind of funny that the doctor's was the same name as the Sith from Thing, but he was definitely on Carmine's freaking payroll because he knew exactly what he was doing, and he pushed her to the limit and beyond. And now Gotham has to deal with that creation. Except,
yeah. Now, do you think that this is going to turn her into what everybody called her. Like she wasn't actually the Hangman before. And we, like you had mentioned, we're obviously not going to get Magpie now, obviously. But do you think this is going to turn her into the Hangman? She's going to accept the moniker that everybody gave her.
She is definitely going to accept it as a way to instill fear in her enemies and the Maronis and anybody else who'll stand against her, and to keep, her hired grunts of the Falcone family in line too. They're going to be like, "Did you hear what she did to her family? Yeah, you don't want to mess with her." So she's going to use that, even though she wasn't the actual Hangman who committed those crimes. She's definitely going to use the moniker to benefit her in the long run.
I think so too.
And is it Sunday yet? Because man, I really wish
Right?
we were getting that next episode. I was ready for it at 9:57 last night.
The episode ended, and I'm like, boy, this is one of those where like I love the fact that we're able to talk about it, that we're able to have these water cooler moments, but boy, do I wish I could binge this.
Can I get some more of them episodes of the Penguin?
Right? I'm so jealous of everybody that out there that waits for a series to like fully air, because I can't tell you how many of my friends, like other than you guys, that I'm like, oh my gosh, have you guys been watching The Penguin? Oh no, I haven't gotten around to that. Is it good? And it's like, yes, it's good. What are you doing?
My boss was asking me today because him and his wife finished up another show, and he goes, "We're thinking of starting The Penguin." He goes, "Do you like it?" I go, "No, I don't like it. I love it."
I love it.
I'm like, it's seriously, it's a mafia show. It's not a comic book show. It's about the Penguin, but I mean, you wouldn't know he was a Batman villain by watching this show, and it's kudos to everybody involved for doing what they had to do to make this show this good.
My dad loves it. And it's tough to get him to enjoy most comic book stuff. But save for The Punisher, that's like his all-time favorite. Loves The Punisher. Was so mad when it ended, and he was like ready to call Netflix and demand more episodes of The Punisher. Absolutely loves it. And he also loved the Suicide Squad. Absolutely.
He absolutely loves it.
Now, I have to ask you something.
Sure.
He was going to call Netflix. I do
That's what he
believe when
said.
we want something done, we march at dawn, sir. You please let your father know there's proper
dad's a bit more
marching
old school.
orders to how we take care of things.
There's procedures we have in place for this type of thing.
But yeah, he wants more of that. He ended up getting into Daredevil, so he wants more. He loved, and I'm so proud of him. He also liked Madam Web.
Oh boy. You're proud
He
of
said
that?
it was the most funny movie he had ever seen.
Okay, good.
Oh,
good.
there you go. So he's
But-
not going to see the Joker then.
Well, no, I described it to him, and he's like, "Yeah, no, that doesn't sound good." He's like, "I like the other Harley Quinn." I'm like, "Good for you."
I saw today
Like, I don't know why would they change Harley Quinn? I'm like, I don't know, Dad. That's a great question.
that Joker Fallait Adieu is coming to streaming October 28th.
Oh boy.
Wow, that was quick. Damn.
So, yeah, it lost a little bit of money.
Don't even watch it then, folks.
No,
No.
I have zero plans of ever watching that movie again.
Same.
And the funny thing is, like, I might watch Madam Web again just because it was so funny, and I want to like watch it again. And be
I
like,
have watched
oh
it.
dear God, that is really bad.
I have.
I don't
And
think
it is still funny.
where I don't think I'll ever watch Morbius again because it was bad in a different way. Like
Morbius
Madam Web,
wasn't
we can
funny.
laugh at. Morbius bad
Yeah.
wasn't funny. I'm sorry, Dave. Don't get upset.
Yeah, you like that Matt Smith dancing scene. I know you did.
I think I enjoyed the Morbius memes more than I did the movie itself. Like, I got a kick out of the way the internet was tearing it apart. That was like my favorite part of Morbius was everything not really. It's everything that was But no, so I showed my dad the Penguin, and he loved it. He was into it, and he was the same way the other night. He's just like, "Where is there another episode?" I'm like, "No, no, it's every week." They can't do this.
It's funny because
I'm trying to get my parents to watch it, and they just every time I say this is a great show, you need to watch it. It's 9 out of 10. It's like even higher than that now. You have to
Hmm.
watch it. And every time I talk to them, they're like, "Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe they're waiting to binge it. I don't know, but I don't know how they can
Possibly.
pass it."
it's funny because my brother and his son is watching it, and my nephew went to bed last night, and Kurt was like, I wanted to wake him up. Like he was tired. He's going to college and working and stuff. He's like, I wanted to wake him up because he had to watch it. I hope he's watched it already. But it was one of those episodes. I did not expect a flashback episode to be that well done.
Oh. I was gonna say because we were talking last week,
I
we both expected a flashback episode featuring Sophia, and we got it. We kind of knew that was the next step.
I was concerned. I'll be fully honest with you guys. I don't remember either of you bringing that up. When you had mentioned it in our chat, I'm like who said that
Yeah,
there was going to be? I don't remember either of you saying that there was going to be a flashback, that you were theorizing there was going to be one. So excellent guess. Um,
Guess we've,
yeah, we
we've
know
we've
things.
facts
excellent,
and hints.
excellent. What's next to seize?
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
that's good. I like it.
But the minute that I saw that that's what they were doing, I was like, oh no, is this going to be the Acolyte? That
Oh,
was the first thing that I thought. I'm like, oh no, a flashback episode. Oh God, this is going to be bad. But then like, oh, they got you hooked pretty darn quick.
Man, what could turn this innocent young girl into, what we see, oh, I'm surprised it wasn't just, oh, she was attacked by someone and, she defended herself and now she's, beyond guilty over what happened. It's crazy. How could that happen?
no.
This is how you do a flashback, and this is how you build, show a
Okay,
character's
way to find your
transformation.
mom and then put that on TV. God, like I know that we have said it multiple times, but wow, episode, way to be dark.
It was. It
No
was
pearls.
one of the darkest episodes of a television show I've seen in a while too. They really, like, I thought they were gonna dive into it, then kind of bring it back, and it just was like, we're just going to keep ramping it up until people either
Grabs.
leave or they're clinically insane too. And I don't know where I fell at the
Yeah.
end of it. And
Oh,
that's the way you show a character's transformation from innocent,
uh-huh.
person into the hangman, basically, this mob boss. You couldn't ask for a better way to, like we said earlier, write, act, the music behind it. Great. I mean,
Hmm.
I fear that the show is going to start lacking a little bit with what after this episode. Like, it's not going to drop off a cliff like we've seen in other things, but
But it's not going to be able to live up to this.
it's going to be hard. I don't want to doubt them because they've done such a great job so far, but this was truly an incredible episode. To
It is tough when you've got, a production team that raises the bar that high in like the middle of a season or something. But this is definitely like the peak of what is that called in? It's not the story circle. There's like a whole, I don't know, is it called like the mountain or whatever? But it's essentially when they talk about like when you get to the climax of a story. I feel like that was this episode.
it definitely felt that
And the
way.
rest of it, and the rest of it's just playing out the rest of the season. You don't think we'll have another
That's what I
flashback?
think. That's what I think is going to happen. So that's my, okay, there we go. That's my what's next. I don't want to, I don't think it's going to be bad, but yeah, exactly what you just said, Dave. I think it's going to now, everything's going to kind of fall down from there, not in a bad way, but it's all going to be the repercussions of what just happened. We've just reached the peak of the story, and now everything needs to come tumbling down from there. But again,
No,
not
and
in a
I
bad way.
don't. They have done. They did the back kind of a flashback for Vic. What was that? 10 minutes
That's
of the show.
right. Yeah.
So they had a nice little flashback to show his motivations and why he
Mm-hmm.
does stuff. And now they've done that with Sophia. And who else are they going to do that for? We've already seen the Joker. I'm sorry, the Penguin. In the first, we saw him the way he acts now with his mom, and he's
Mm-hmm.
not always the mobster guy, and he does have his own motivations. I don't know another character that didn't get wiped out like Red Wedding wiped out on this show. Um, they're going to go back to Vitti, so I don't think they're doing any more flashbacks.
Now that's a
And
good comparison. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, this is like that shows Red Wedding episode. Damn.
yeah, it's just like you're all gone. You didn't treat me right, and you're gone.
And the way that she was like walking around some of the bodies too, like the one dude laying in the doorway, reaching for the glass. It's like, oh man, that was crazy.
The rest of this series, because unfortunately I can't
Mm-hmm.
say season since it is a limited series, is going to be
Yeah.
now everything coming to head. Everything that Oz has put in motion and now what Sophia has put in motion, it is going to be the, war, the mob war for power. It is going to be Sophia versus the Maronis versus Oz. And I do feel like Oz is now going to be sort of like Falcones are taken care of. Now we got to take care of the Maronis, especially after they definitely made him pivot on what his plans were with how last week's episode ended. So he's probably going to start figuring out how to take power from them, because he's really good at talking his way out of situations, because we saw it in the beginning of this episode where he's like, the new operation, it's yours. I was going to give it to you. I just had to get it going and stuff. He's good like that. And I think that
Yeah.
Oz is gone. I think he now knows this, if I'm going to take power, this is where I have to do it. I can't
He's
play.
burnt his bridges.
Yeah. He's got to take it now because he's not going to be able to. He's definitely never going to get Sophia to trust him again. That is gone.
Oh no.
And he's definitely not going to get the Maronis to believe anything he says after what he's done to them. So this is the point. All three parties. And it's great. It's not just, Oz versus the Falcones or Oz versus the Maronis. It's going to be all three kind of coming together.
And who are the triads going to back, Sophia or Oz?
I think they're going to wait it out and back whoever wins.
Hmm.
They're going to continue selling the bliss as long as they can. And then they're just going to be like, we're basically Switzerland. Let us know when someone, comes out on top. And they may do, hey, we got you, Sophia. Oz, we know you're our guy. You guys go take care, go battle it out. Take care of what you need to do. And come back to see us. But I don't think they'll take an active role unless Oz, who doesn't have any foot soldiers to say, figures out a way to recruit them to kind of be his guys. But I can't imagine the triads would really rise up against, unless, the one thing that they did hint about, Carmine screwed over the triads before. They made sure we knew that last episode. So Oz may be able to use that to be like, they're almost done. Let's go. Help me take them out, or let me help you take them out. Because he's not going to be the one who says, "Help me take them out." He'll be like, "Let me help you take them out." I know I'm
that way.
your inside
That way,
guy.
There's a whole favor situation now. Now, Oz is going to be like in debt to him.
Yep. And they'll probably jump on it. It is a very good opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Because they may see it as, holy shit, holy shoot, the entire, Falcone, hierarchy is gone now. If there's a time to strike, it's now. But unfortunately, I don't think Sophia is going to be so weak. I think she's going to prove to be much stronger and more in control of what's left of that family than they anticipate. And it's going to go badly probably for the triads and the Maronis.
That's why I asked, do you think she's actually going to now take on the Hangman persona? Because now I'm wondering, is she going to start making a statement? Anybody who crosses her, you're going to find their body hanging.
I think there's a very good possibility that happens. She'll use anything she can, because she's all throughout this series, she's always said, Oz, you got a better chance because, you got a male genitalia. I won't use the word. And she's often said, because I'm a woman, I'm just supposed to go to Italy and have a good time and stuff. So yeah, she's definitely going to lean into the hangman persona and mess up. I wouldn't want to be one of her, lieutenants or foot soldiers that messes up first, because you're right. She'll probably hang him.
Mm-hmm.
You got to set the tone immediately.
Oh yeah, totally.
First thing she's going to do is come in and fire somebody.
Well, she kind of did that already.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
the ultimate firing.
Yeah, they're not coming back. They don't need references. They don't have resumes.
Excuse me, Jimmy, I need to see you in HR. Jimmy? Oh, that's right.
Sorry.
But, oh boy, how is she going to explain this to the little girl? Hey, sorry, mommy's taking a long nap.
I don't think she will.
Mm-hmm.
She may get her off to Italy to live with someone else or something.
Oh, give her the ticket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get her away from all of this, because, I do think she's an innocent child. Like you guys said, she was nice to her at that one party when we saw the mother kind of pull her close to her when she started talking to her. And in this episode, when she was eating the meatballs and doing, she was laughing until the mom said, "Oh, don't watch it," or whatever. So I think she'll make sure that she has a good life, just away from here, because she doesn't want any loose ends coming back. You killed my parents. Get out of here, Gia.
That's what happens in the Batman universe, right? When they, you see in Batman Begins, Carmine was in that movie, and he doesn't take him out because, look what happens when Carmine does die. His whole family just completely falls apart, and it's just chaos. He needed him in charge to keep the order. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And it was nice, we're seeing, not only have we seen the effects of what the Riddler did in the Batman, but, a lot of this is because, Carmine was killed in the Batman. So we're seeing a lot of the repercussions throughout, normal Batman. We would, hey, the mob lord died. There's a new mob lord. There's some mob guys Batman will beat up. But we are getting all of the repercussions from what happened in that movie in the mob. It's great. Great television.
All right. Oh yeah.
But what do you think? Should we rate this episode, gentlemen?
Sure.
I think so.
I'll take the lead. Excellent show. I've been reluctant to give out 10s, and I'm still not going to, because I'm just dark, I guess. But this show has been dark. This show, the acting is phenomenal. Like we're talking about, the Penguin he was just a background character on this show. And still, I thought he stole the scenes he was in. And Cristin Milioti, amazing. I keep saying it. This will be her breakout role. Just to get that world building in the background for her. And now we know why she is the way she is. And then, even the background characters at the head, like Carla Falcone, she's been in the comics too, and obviously she's a little different here, but now she's not going to be here. And it's just, desperate times call for desperate measures. She's not going to be taking the back seat and sent back to Italy. I love it. They're doing everything right. I don't see too many plot holes. The pacing is just perfect, because they're going to cover what they need to cover. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're covering all the angles. That's what good writing does. So I'm going to give this episode a 9.5.
Wow, I did not expect that out of you, Dave. I was sitting there thinking like, oh man, Dave's probably gonna give it like a good 9 out of 10, and I was thinking, yeah, I'll probably be around there too. I This episode was phenomenal. I did not expect you to give it a 9.5 out of 10. That's probably a first. That I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't really hear you give that high of scores almost ever.
I gave Andor a 9.8 on the final episode, I think, and that's the best I've done.
But yeah, this show, we've been singing its praises. Uh, in the couple of episodes that we've seen so far, they've been really good. This is good storytelling. We've, mentioned multiple times that if you're going to tell a villain story, from a comic book character, this is a good way to do it. And I think the idea that they're essentially doing what Marvel did when they were making their good movies, way back when in the earlier phases, where they're essentially taking a genre of movie and insert comic book character, and they're building the world, building the story around it. I think that was the best way to go about this. They're, they're creating a character that fits in this world, and while he isn't identical to the Penguin in the comics, I think the story is better served because of it. And I think the story has just been great. It's been ramping up episode after episode. And we have said this in, all of our reviews, how we can't wait for the next one. It's like the episode ends and it's like, where's the next one? Is it Sunday yet? As Keith pointed out a minute ago. So yeah, this was beautiful. I did not think that, a flashback episode could be this good. For some reason, I've been burnt in the past. But this was so good. It was dark. The storytelling was phenomenal. The character development was great. I loved being able to learn more about Sophia. I lo- I loved watching her transform, go through her transformation, bloom into her poisonous flower, if you will, that she ended up as at the end, turn into that wild, beast. And I truly do think she's going to end up taking on more of the characterization of the Hangman that everybody called her, even though that's not what she started out as. I think they pushed her into it. And I've got to be with Dave on this. I've got to give it a 9.5 out of 10. It was perfection. I want more.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, you don't get much better television than this. I mean, the writing, the acting, the music, and even the song they played at the end, which we kind of talked about offline, all perfectly fit into all of this. And they took something, a flashback episode, for the most part, and just played it out beautifully and led us into, the final 4 episodes of this and what we're going to get out of one of the main characters. And I mean, I don't think you could ask for better television. I'm kind of shocked that you guys only gave it a 9.5 because I am going to give this a 10 because, I tweeted out last night and put it on Threads. This might be one of the finest hours of television I've ever seen. It was that good. And my only worry about this is that the next 4 aren't going to live up to this. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to continue at this level of quality for the rest of this. I hope they do, because if they do, this is going to be one of the best series, comic book or otherwise, in television history. I mean, so good. I cannot talk about it enough. I love everything about it, and I hope it never ends, even though I know it is in 4 more weeks. But I really hope it doesn't. I hope they create the 24-hour Penguin channel where we just see like him sleeping in bed and waking up in the morning, eating breakfast. I would buy into that 100%.
Keith, I am not surprised that you gave it a 10. I'm not.
No, I'm not at all either.
Because it deserved it, gentlemen. I've given out 10. I've given out 10s to some X-Men 97 episodes.
Infinity War, did you like?
I didn't give a 10 to Infinity War. I mean, I really loved it. I didn't give a 10 to Endgame either.
No, I know you
I
liked
think Infinity
Infinity
War
War
is better than Endgame.
Yeah, I did too. I definitely. I mean, Endgame's great. Don't get me wrong. I just liked Infinity War better. I don't know the ending they gave, which I don't think anyone expected, was really well done.
It's that Mark Ruffalo. He told everybody, just wait for this next one. Everybody dies. No, with 4 years of Wakanda, that's one of the best moments in movie history, I think.
Yeah, every time it's on any channel, I always turn it on, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't miss Thor's entrance, did I?
So the more cynical part of me wonders, is the Penguin truly that good of television, or have we seen so much terrible television lately that this is like a shining bright star in the swamp that we've been living in?
No, I think it's that good. I really do.
I hope so. I truly do. And like that is the way that I'm seeing it, but there's just that little pessimistic voice. I don't know. Maybe it's not that good.
See, I'm with Dave. Even though we have been let down way too many times with television series as of late. I mean, I don't think this show is only good because we've seen so much bad. This stands up. Even if everything else, even if there's tons of good shows out, I think this would shine above it all.
This is something that I will definitely go back and rewatch. I have gone back and rewatched Andor. I've gone back and rewatched Loki season 2. That was another season of TV that I loved. I loved Loki season 2. I thought it was so darn good.
Yeah, I gave the finale of Loki season 2 a 10 also because that was
I think
incredible.
I did too. That was incredible. That was also top tier TV to me. And what a way to end it.
I mean, Daredevil season 3 lives up to this too.
Oh God, yes. Oh, that was so good.
I just hope they can make it, this new Daredevil series. We're tangenting a little bit, I guess, but the new Daredevil series can it live up to Daredevil season 3?
You know, the good news is
I don't know.
they watched it and they decided to, creatively overhaul this entire series. So I hope it is more, Daredevil season 3 and just the Netflix Daredevil season, and we don't get something that doesn't live up to, what that show did, because that show was great. They got the actors back, so I think, we don't have to worry about the acting, but I just hope the writing, lives up to the Netflix show, because that, while there was probably too many episodes for the season, it was still so well done. And I mean, it was one of those shows where I hated the fact that it all dropped at once, only because with work and family and everything else, I couldn't just take a weekend and binge watch the whole thing. It was like everyone else finished it in like a weekend, and it's like, 13
There's
days
no way you would be
later,
able to do that.
and I'm like finally on the last episode, and I'm like, I gotta stay away from all social media because I don't want to know anything.
You're talking to people about, what did you think of that finale of what? Of Daredevil. Oh man, I don't even remember. That was so long ago.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it this weekend. Oh, dang it!
Oh man. But I do have high hopes for it because the little bit that we saw of him in Echo was good. So I do have high hopes they're going to take the character in the right direction.
Even Daredevil and She-Hulk was the best episode we got of She-Hulk, and now I don't think like Dave.
Excuse me, don't you talk bad about my Madison like that.
Well, that was good too, but I mean the Daredevil episode was still the best, and even though a lot of people didn't like how he was portrayed in that, it's still, I do think Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are going to be the first ones to make sure that this is up to snuff. I hope.
Well, if anybody has read some of the late 90s, early 2000s Daredevil comics, he was making his way through like all the ladies of the Marvel universe. So like that was pretty much in line with Daredevil. He was a horn dog.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything wrong with it. I mean,
No.
everybody, a walk of shame. I'm like, why would that be shameful to do that? To go do She-Hulk. Why would that be shameful? I don't think that's shameful.
Wouldn't be at all.
They gave it a different name, and I remember I put it on the thumbnail just to prove a point, because they also said the creators were like, no, it wasn't a walk of shame. It was like a strut of power or something. I don't remember what they called it.
I like it.
It was like, okay, yeah, I like that.
Well, should we find someone to raid?
It's a raid.
I think we probably should. It's getting to be about that time.
Ski bop diddle bop doo doo.
Scatman.
Graduating, Bubble.
How about who is this MTG nerd girl?
Magic the Gathering nerd girl.
Is she literally playing the card game?
Probably the digital version of it.
Huh.
Oh wow, she's got 206 people on there.
At least it isn't the other MTG.
Yeah, true that. True that.
Right. Well, yeah. How about we rate her?
I'm down for that.
All right.
Do it.
Dave, good with that?
And let the English see you do it.
And for those of you that are watching us on YouTube, obviously rating is something that we do on Twitch. It is a way to send all of our lovely viewers that have been hanging out with us on Twitch over to another channel that we like. So while we can't do that on YouTube, appreciate you showing up, hanging out, chatting with us, and of course, liking and subscribing this video and sharing it with all of your friends.
And their friends. And then
their friends.
And so on.
And they tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and so on and so on.
That's
But
right.
once again, do all the YouTube stuff. We appreciate you. We will be back Thursday talking about the 6th episode of Agatha All Along. So please join us. We would love to see you. And thank you again for coming out tonight.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.